saying, look, we're going to win this thing with literally 4 days of preparation. 4 days. And those first 3 days are focused on Panama, who are a good team. And then 2 days on US. Like, this isn't to make excuses. There's just facts and reality. And the facts and reality, I thought tonight is statistically, I'll tell you, this was a really tight game. A set piece decided it and a bit of quality from the US. And again.
Herc, this isn't to make excuses, but are we giving a get lost to your boy John Herdman here?
God, John, come get lost, John. Come on. Like, I understand. Okay, get lost because I didn't hear these excuses when you ran World Cup qualifying. We were preparing for 3 games. 3 games in one window with 5 days preparation, if that. I didn't hear these excuses. You ran the table. And now, because you had to play Panama and then face off against the U.S. men's national team and all their Tier 1 players, you're going to make excuses now? No, man, get lost. Nobody forced you to play Kennedy there as a center back. Nobody forced you to play Alphonso Davies if he wasn't fit. Nobody forced you to play 2 9s and Kyle Larin and Jonathan David. You could have avoided all these things and not benched Tajon Buchanan, one of your most dangerous and promising players. You could have gone about it very much in a different way, and you didn't. And that's on you. So you don't have to make excuses. So that's a get lost. But in the same breath, he also spoke about the lack of resources and how the Canadian Federation isn't serious about winning an actual World Cup. Now, it may sound silly to some about Canada actually being serious about winning a World Cup, but when you play in a competition like this, you have to be serious. And if the resources aren't there, now, if there's one federation that makes the Mexican Federation look competent, it is the Canadian Soccer Federation. That's a reality. They're trying to gear up for a World Cup in their own country they will host, and the resources aren't there. Not only for the men, for the women. It's dysfunctional. So I sympathize with John and what he's trying to go for and what he's trying to talk about. But in this case, specifically, for this game versus the U.S. men's national team, that's a get lost.
Okay, Herc, between these comments, what we saw at the World Cup, and to the points that you made, some of the in-game management errors or critiques that you could throw at Herdman in this final, leaving Tajon Buchanan on the bench, moving Alphonso Davies, I don't know, into 3 or 4 different positions throughout this match, none of which really seemed to work. How much of the shine has come off Herdman for you since before the World Cup?
On a scale of 1 to 10, he was a 10 with me, and you know this. He's about at a 6.5 right now. It's a lot of shine. It's a lot of shine because I held him in high regard because of just how well he did in World Cup qualifying and the ability to recognize certain situations. Playing against the U.S., this is a team that likes to have the ball. Maybe if we give them the ball, they will allow us the space to counter and pick them apart. Something he didn't do in this final. He tried to press them and try to go toe for toe, and they were ate up. He was ate up by B.J. Callahan. And honestly, he's a better coach than what he's shown in the last, mind you, I don't know, 4 games if you want to go World Cup 3 and this 4th.
All right, what about the players? What's their responsibility in this final? We saw the highlights there. Kyle Larin had a real clear chance in the second half. He probably should have finished. Alphonso Davies, quiet until the very end and couldn't really find a goal or an assist. So the stars didn't show up for Canada when they needed them most. Don't they deserve some of the blame?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to put some blame on Alphonso Davies, who's trying to come back from injury, you can tell he wasn't 100%. You can tell he was forcing the initiative, forcing the ball a little too much. It was counterproductive. And Kyle Larin doesn't seem suited for me to be a number 2 striker. Neither is Jonathan David. You put them on the field together, and it's almost like it needs to be a must-have situation of 2 strikers, or else they're just running in each other. They're just impeding their own space. That doesn't make sense to me. And then there's also a lack of quality when it comes to some of the players in that depth. When you talk about Kennedy, who might not be ready to be in that role as a full-time national team member or starter as a center back, there's a clear deficiency in that pipeline. Some of those things you just can't help if you're Herdman.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.